Hello and welcome to another edition of Cloud Test Tips. In this video, we are going to talk about what are the things that are lacking in typical test tools that prevent them from properly measuring cloud security efficacy. And by security efficacy, I mean a means to not only measure how much attacks are passed through or how much attacks are blocked, but also what is the performance numbers and what kind of performance penalties we have when we elevate more security controls and things like that. As we have seen in most of my previous videos, I've used AWS, but this time I thought we'll change it a bit and we'll have GCP. So for this particular video, I have deployed three virtual machines. You can see VM0, VM1, and VM2 in the VPC. And I have deployed Cyperf agents in the VM1 and 2. And I have the controller itself in VM0, which would be my UI and all the access I will do. I've also added another interface, ENS5. Typically for classic test tools, the second interface becomes the test interface, and most of the management traffic would go from the default ENS4/80, the primary interface, right? But when we are going for testing, especially security testing, secure web gateways and things like that, a lot of those sits on 80. Now, if the test tool is not able to generate traffic from 80, then you are not able to maximize performance testing, security testing, because you are not able to push directly traffic through 80, right? So that's a big lack in some of the classic test tools. But with Cyperf, we are able to swap test interface per our need. And I'm going to show you how exactly to do that. Before I jump in, I wanted to show you how I deployed this entire setup. So I generally would go to support.xiacom.com and pick the latest version of Keysight Cyperf available. And you can see there are certain options. For this particular test, I clicked on Google Cloud and it gives me deployment options. I will go to my deployment manager, and that takes me to a GitHub link that shows me what are the different types of deployments that I can do. As I mentioned, for this test, I'm going to keep it simple, just have one controller and two agents. So I use this template and already deployed it for you for this video. So let's go quickly to my GCP to check that out. So this is my GCP console, and I can also pull in the slides here. And you can see we have three virtual machines deployed, two acting as client agent 1 and agent 2, and one as a controller. And you can see their NIC0 IPs 20.0.0.3 and 30.0.0.4. And we can also see the controller's public IP. So let's go to the controller. I'm in the controller now, and I will click on one of the sessions that I already have from my browse configs. And I can, if I click on this yellow icon, I can see the 20.0.0.3 and 30.0.0.4 for client and server. So these are my management NICs, my NIC zeros, and I can click them and run a test and see how it goes. So I ran this test and it got around 11,300 plus CPS TLS handshakes. And if I go to my agent metrics, which is a very good indicator of whether I was able to maximize the agents, you can see almost all the cores are 95% and above. Now let me quickly explain what we did here by pulling up those agents itself. So two agents I have putted into it. These are the GCP instances, and they're already running Cyperf agents. So let's use the CLI to see the configuration. So you can see the configuration shows that my NIC0 is ENS4 and I'm connected to the controller. And if I go and do the same thing on my server, it shows the same. But in this case, we want reverse. We want the test traffic to generate from ENS4 because that's where lots of security web gateways get attached. Load balancers generate traffic and send it to management interfaces. So let's change that right now with the CLIs that are provided to us. So we'll do Cyperf agent interface management set to ENS5, which is my non-primary interface. And I will also quickly set my test interface to ENS4. So thereby I am reversing the polarity. So I did that, and now I will do the same thing at my client, and let's see what happens in the UI. Now I come back to these, and what I can see here if I click on it is that my management IPs have become 172.16.5.2 and 172.16.5.5. And if I go back to my PuTTY instances, you would see if I do ifconfig, 5.5 is actually my ENS5. So this has become my management. And now when I run the test traffic will get generated from ENS4, which is my NIC0. So we can now generate the same level of application and security traffic, but from the NIC0. So let's rerun the test. Test has been running for some time, and you can see I'm getting almost very similar performance numbers now with this, which is expected because only the interfaces have changed. And I can also go to this statistics traffic agents and see all the layer 2 3 stats, browse down, and it would show me that the test interface now is ENS4, which is the NIC0 that's generating all this traffic now. So this shows how easy it is to swap interfaces and send a lot of throughput applications and attacks from the management NIC to test some of these unique features of secure web gateways and other such systems in firewall that generally would sit on the management NIC. Thanks a lot for listening.